So let's think. Who can be honest about sexuality? As a rule, the more attractive you are, the more honest you can be. And so, the most honest ones are teenage girls. They are representative of womanhood, most representative. Their preferences are to be taken the most seriously. What they tell us is the truth. And what they may tell us later is not the truth, because then it's colored by other interests. So what they choose to do when they are teenagers is the true story. What feminists claim they actually want is based on this zombiehood that I have covered in several videos already, where we hold that youth are zombies that act in one way, whereas their true nature is something else that we can impose on them, and society can impose on them by defining their real nature as something that's not in this world, something that is this metaphysical supposed reality that replaces this reality. So that is the philosophical zombiehood that the normies purport to believe in. They really purport to believe this. And then they justify it. They've tacked on this explanation, which is now linked to the supposed brain development of young people, which is supposedly unfinished, which makes them retarded so that their actions don't count, their thoughts don't count. So that is the same idea as the zombiehood, except it has this veneer of credibility because you claim that it's all about immaturity, which is a myth. And even if it were true, it would be highly problematic to claim that humans aren't humans until they're 25, if there was a significant step up in reasoning and thinking, IQ, which there isn't. You can't improve your IQ after puberty. It is fixed. And individual differences count a lot more than those years that will pass from the time you're 13 or 14 until you're 25. You can just look at the next guy or the next girl at the same age, and she can be brighter than you, and she can also be brighter than any random 40-year-old, right? Or anyone at any age. So why do the normies make such a big deal out of this mythical brain development? That's simply so they can justify their superstition. That's all there is to it. It's a prejudice that's really convenient. It makes all questions go away, right? It makes it uncontroversial to have these harsh laws and penalties, to have all this violence against men becomes uncontroversial, to where I'm the only one that you see speaking out against it. So it's uncontroversial today. It's uncontroversial to persecute sexuality on the basis of this belief. Now let me now talk about someone else who actually has seen some of what I've seen, and that is Aella. So I'm going now to read a tweet by her that where she says, let's see if I can find Twitter here. Okay, she's saying, Aella says, Imgur is banning nudity. All posts with nudity will be deleted. This is probably from payment processors' censorship, which is super tragic. We live in a society where massive corporations are slowly stamping out all human sexual expression online. The online world is slowly descending into prudishness and sexual oppression, and I am so sad about it, says Aella. Now I'm going to say what I think about that. Well, she is right, of course, but she's talking about pictures. And we don't need pictures. We want to have sex in real life. You should be practicing nofap anyway. But there's nothing wrong with nudity as long as you don't masturbate. It shouldn't be suppressed. You shouldn't have this censorship. You should just choose not to masturbate, right? So she's right that they're stamping out expression. But from a male point of view, that's the least problem. Because we shouldn't be paying attention to pictures anyway. We should be seeking out sex in real life. That should be the totality of our effort. But the problem, of course, is that this war against sexuality also criminalizes real life. But it doesn't do it in such an effective manner as it does the online speech and pictures. So that's something to be thankful for, because the anti-sex bigots are stupid. I mean, they're just like the wankers. They think there's sexual stuff online, but there isn't. There's nothing sexual online. It's just the information. And there's no sexuality contained in information. You can only have sex in real life. You can only have sex by touching an actual body. It's the only way sex can happen. So, there is no sexuality to stamp out online. There's only this simulacrum that you should be avoiding anyway. And so from a man's point of view, from a male sexualist point of view, it's kind of nice that they are trying to eradicate these pictures that don't matter, because it leaves us with relative peace for what matters, right? So where was I? I was going to talk about who can be honest. Yeah, who can be honest. So those bigots, they don't know what's going on. They think they're fighting sexuality by fighting pictures. And I said the teen girls can be honest, and Aella can be honest because she is an attractive woman and who she was young, and she's saying her true experience of that. She's still relatively young, not a teen anymore though. I wonder if she'll turn into a feminist before long like the rest, when they can't profit from actual sexuality anymore. They turn to this witch hunt. So we see that again and again. When women get older, they adopt these feminist values. So maybe Aella will do the same thing. She will reinterpret all her past as abuse, and now all those pictures on OnlyFans and all that was oppression, and now she wants compensation for that, and now that's how she shall profit. And then she'll make up a story about how sexuality is bad and why she needs compensation for all that oppression. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think she will do that, but that is what we see as the normal narrative for how feminism goes and how women mature in this society, right? But that is not the true story about sexuality, because if you want to know the truth, ask the teen girls. Ask them, not when they were indoctrinated. Even when we have all this indoctrination, you can get the truth out of them a lot of times. And that is what you should believe about sexuality. So when can men be honest? Well, if you're like me, you can be honest. And also there's an element of attractiveness there, like the more attractive men can be more honest. Like somebody like Donald Trump in his prime, when he was praising Epstein and saying that was his interest too, to be friends with all these young women, that is, and he grabbed them by the pussy and all that, that's the honest male perspective. So you can say that when you have attractiveness on your side, when it's not considered too creepy, then you can be honest. And also, if you're young, if you're like 18 years old, you don't have to lie about who you find most attractive, because that is girls of the same age as you. And you can say that age gaps are bad, right? Because they don't hurt you. It doesn't hurt you to say that at that time. So you can express yourself honestly, except a little bit. They're still a little bit hurt by these, by the age of consent, but not that much, since they're right in the middle of the peer group with the most attractive girls anyway. So, and a lot of that is legal, so they don't have to worry, unless they just happen to be in love with, say, a 14-year-old girl or something. Then they have to worry, but as a rule they don't. So they can't tell the full story, but they can tell the story about how they feel themselves, and then they can just dismiss what will happen when they get older. Now, Oscar Wilde said that the tragedy of growing old is not that you're old, but it is that you are young. When you get old, you don't feel old. You feel young inside. At least I still do. And I have exactly the same preferences as when I was 18 years old. And so will you, especially if you are male. I can guarantee you. And then this normie perspective that age gaps are bad, it becomes oppressive. You don't want to support that anymore. Especially if you're single and you're trying to hook up with young women. So therefore, you shouldn't have supported it all along. You should have tried to be more honest about sexuality. You should have tried to have some fairness and justice that wasn't based on these false narratives, these false stories that serve old women and serve young men who want to get rid of the competition from older men. Now we're back to the Ludowiki theme of sexual jealousy among the generations. So that is real too. There are so many interests at war with each other. That is just not going to be a peaceful solution. Now the Ludowiki solution is to send young men off to war. And so they're killed off, and that will reduce competition. Of course, the men don't say it, except he did. Ludowiki did. But it happens. It's happening now in Ukraine. And there's a meat grinder going on, and nobody is particularly concerned about ending that slaughter. Seems we as a society seem quite happy with it. So you can speculate how much of that is due to this jealousy against the young. And all that sexual feeling that doesn't get expressed in public discourse today. But I am expressing it, as long as I am able. And if I'm not able here on YouTube anymore, I'll put the videos up elsewhere, but of course they won't have many viewers, and they don't have many viewers here either. So this isn't gonna change the world. The men's movement doesn't seem like it's gonna be a movement. We just have to live with feminism for now. But some of us can at least think about what's really going on and how it should be, and be against the persecution of victimless sexuality.